Hey everyone, it's Alicia Atout, and welcome back to another episode of Knotfest Heavy Conversations. Today I'm excited to be back with my fellow hosts Daniel Dekay, Ryan J. Downey, and Cori Westbrook. How has everybody been?
Hello.
Woo!
We're partying.
Well, how you doing, Alicia?
I'm doing really well, thank you for asking. We have a lot to dive into, so you all ready?
Yeah, we're team glasses here at the top of the round table.
Aren't we? Aren't we? We're head of the table today with the glasses.
I can join the club.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Can't be the only
good
one.
with glasses.
So sorry, DK. So sorry.
Oh man.
Here,
okay.
hey, I won't leave you alone. There, I'll take them off.
It's all the better for
blind.
us to see your handsome face with, Mr. DK.
I'm gonna go to the optometrist and be like, listen, I know that
I
my
demand these.
perfect, but
Yeah,
on prescription glasses, please.
vanity
Oh,
glasses.
man.
Let me do that.
That's so good. Well, the first thing we're going to dive in today is Hatebreed. I know everyone's psyched about this topic as they announced that they're hitting the road this fall with Bodysnatcher and Dying Wish, and they'll be celebrating 20 years of their record Perseverance. It's also an American headline tour, and whenever we're kind of hit with these massive anniversary tours, it always weighs on me anyway, like how damn long ago these actually came out, but how fresh all the songs still remain 20 years later. So let's throw it to the panel to get your thoughts on the tour. Cori, start with you.
Oh, well, I am fucking stoked. Like, just to throw that out there from the very beginning. Perseverance is one of those albums. It was a formative album for me. It came out when I was 13 because I'm old as shit. And yeah, I'm 33 for those of you who can't do math. But no, this is one of those formative albums that like, it really got me diving into more extreme music, much more heavy music. And the thing that I love the most about this album is the intersection of fans that it brings together, because it's not just hardcore kids. You've got hardcore kids at a Hatebreed show. You've got thrash kids, death metal kids. You had all of these people being brought together by this music that I call deceptively uplifting. Because when you go back and you listen to the album, you're like, fuck yeah, I want to break shit. And then you read the lyrics and you're like, fuck yeah, I want to break shit with a smile on my face because this is just making me feel great about myself. Like it's just one of those albums that pushes you forward. When you listen to it, you're like, I can fucking conquer the world. Hell yeah. So yeah, I'm a little jazzed for this tour.
All right. And then Downey, how about you?
I will insider information here. I was aware that this tour was coming together a couple of months ago. For people who are watching this probably don't know, I represent the band Throwdown, who hasn't been an active touring band since 2009, but technically still exists. And our good friend, Mr. Jamie Josta, very much wanted Throwdown in that main support slot on the Perseverance 20 Years tour. We weren't able to make it happen because Throwdown has an anniversary of their own coming up next year for the record Haymaker, which will be 20 years old next year. So they're probably going to do their own thing. So any super fans of Throwdown that might be paying attention to the Knotfest roundtable just got a scoop. Although who knows how that will take shape. But they ended up putting together, Gatecreeper and, a great lineup on the different legs of this tour. And yeah, big fan of the record, big fan of the band. Cori, just to make you feel super young, I would imagine I'm the only person in the chat who saw Jamie's band before Hatebreed, Josta 14, which is where the Jamie Josta name comes from, for all you kids out there. And yeah, like Cori said, Hatebreed really bridged a lot of gaps coming, like originating from the hardcore scene, but were one of the first bands along with Earth Crisis and a couple of others that would tour with Sepultura and would, play at Ozfest and, really kind of cross over into that so-called mall metal world. But it really brought a lot of people into the hardcore scene, and Hatebreed's managed to continue to be a relevant band, still making great records. Concrete Confessional, I think, was that last one. Great album. And yeah, they're kind of like the Slayer of the hardcore scene, just reliable, consistent, and you can always go see them. They're always smart about the undercards that they put together with, cool, relevant bands. So yeah, should be a lot of fun to go celebrate this record. And also definitely very much a self-help motivational hardcore spirit, which you could almost say they pioneered. I mean, granted, there's a bunch of other bands you can name that had that, but I think right now in metalcore, where the self-help thing is like very prevalent, I think you can draw a direct line right back to Hatebreed.
And Dekay, lay it on us.
Just like what, casually dropping Throwdown, like secret, pretending like it's no big deal. Are you kidding me, Downey? That's
I
huge.
love the shameless like self plugs too. It's so
That's
so
what I'm
flawless.
saying. It's like, you never know.
Exclusive. That's not a self plug. That's a world exclusive. That's huge news. That's huge.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna bug you for some more info on that. But Hatebreed, like I was a metal kid first and foremost. I didn't get into hardcore at all. I wasn't really even into punk when I was growing up. Like, you know, hard rock and metal was my first love. So Hatebreed's first two records, Satisfaction is the Death of Desire and Perseverance, are like super important records for me to resonate with everyone else says, bridging that gap. It was metallic hardcore. It wasn't just hardcore the way I'd heard hardcore before. It was fast. It was riffy. The vocals almost had this death metal tinge to them at times. It wasn't this like screaming punk thing that I thought it always was. It was very metal to me. So I have Hatebreed to thank for getting me into a ton of bands that I'm huge fans of now. And I was at the Satisfaction is the Death of Desire anniversary tour. I will be at the Perseverance anniversary tour. They're both perfect records. They're both huge records for me. Super stoked on that one.
Hell yeah. Now we're going to go from one crazy tour into another one, because after a 2-year hiatus, Deftones are back with hands down one of the most eclectic concert lineups I have seen in so long. The bill includes, of course, Deftones, then Turnstile, Phantogram, Freddie Gibbs, Audrey Nuna, Destroy Boys, Provoker, and Cold God. Now you have your metal, your hardcore, your electronic pop all in one night. There's even R&B and rap sprinkled in there. It's bands of all ages from different locations around the world. It's just wildly universal. So what ran through your minds when you first saw this announcement drop the other day? Start with you, Dekay.
Well, I mean, Deftones to me have always been that genre blurring, alternative, arty, experimental, and also heavy as fuck band. So, you know, they've always fit in with so many different scenes. You can catch them on tons of different bills and in different festival slots. So to see that they're curating something like this, to me, it's very on brand. It's very in line with what they've always been about, which is genre inclusiveness and blurring those lines and kind of just smashing this idea that you have to be a fan of one box of music. Like, why can't we just be music fans? Why can't we just appreciate good tunes for being good tunes? And this is a concept that I'm super about. I love the concept of mixed bills. You know, we're just talking about Hatebreed and, you know, bridging that gap. And I think that bridging the gap in an even, wider sense is something that's very important. And if, to paint with a broad stroke, if more heavy music fans considered themselves as just more music in general fans of all genres, all our scenes would be a lot stronger and we'd have way more badass festivals like this.
Downey, how about your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with what Dekay said. And, Deftones, have always curated eclectic lineups here. And that's one of the great things too, when bands put together their own festivals, is as a fan of those bands, you get to really get a sense of the diverse taste that exists within the band itself. So, rather than just seeing a bunch of groups that sound exactly like the headliner, you get to really see what some of the different influences are that shaped that band and made them so unique. And that's why I thought it was cool, the 2 years when Metallica did their Orion Music Festival, they had like Arctic Monkeys on their festival, like it wasn't just, several days of thrash. And Deftones, this lineup this year is certainly eclectic, and it's right in line with years gone past when they've done this event. I don't know, before they've had Gojira, Mike Shinoda, Future, Rocket from the Crypt, Churches, so they're always very forward thinking and very smart about making these eclectic bills that hopefully make new fans out of the various fans of all those various bands.
Right. And Cori, how about you?
I agree with what you two have just said. It is very delightfully on brand for them, because they are one of those bands. It's kind of, honestly, this festival feels like a trend-setting festival, or like a tastemaker type festival, where I hate that term, I really do, but it's kind of what it is, in that they are very much paying attention to what's new out there. They're very much paying attention to what's exciting out there. And by doing that, they will bring more fans to the genre. They will bring more people to the genre because they're not afraid to be like, yeah, we're going to have this random band or that random band that you may not expect, but it works in a way that it just brings more people together. And honestly, I think that's about the most metal you can get, really, because like the whole essence of metal is fuck the rules. So like anybody who tries to put anything in this little box is like the least metal, in my opinion. Just go out there, break down those barriers, break down those walls, bring everybody together to enjoy some awesome tunes. That's about as metal as you can go.
Yeah, it's definitely about the camaraderie. And I think it's so awesome that you're going to be able to taste so many different genres within one night. And hey, if this band, the band that I came to see, are kind of instilling that trust within everybody that's kind of on that little roster and on the bill, like why wouldn't you go early to see all of these different groups? There are so many every single night. So once I saw that drop, I thought, oh my gosh, just for Destroy Boys and Turnstile alone, I would go, yet alone the fact that Deftones are the headliners. So it's going to be really cool to see how that plays out, how many people are going to hop on the trains of all these other groups who were on that underbill there. So definitely an amazing tour that was announced. But now it is time for our 2 weekly Knotfest heavy conversations questions. I love getting into these. So the first one's going to be our favorite track of the week or track that you are currently spinning like crazy. So Cori, go ahead.
Oh dear Lord. Why you always got to start with me?
I didn't. You just ended.
Oh dear. Oh man. So I was out of town for last week, so I didn't get to listen to as much music as I wanted to, but I have been spinning the new Cloud Rat that came out a couple of weeks ago. They're just fast and angry and just, you know what? It was one of those weekends where I needed something that was like super fast and super angry and just uncomfortable to listen to at times, but in a way that is good. And then there's one probably people haven't heard of called Heretics Fork from Snake Father. Go check that one out. It's badass. So yeah, those are my top two this week.
Okay, Downey, what are yours?
I've been listening to, and I might have said this last week too, but I've been listening to the Anthrax. They did like a career spanning streaming performance during the pandemic, and they put out the audio from that as an album a week or two ago. So I've been, it's like an Anthrax greatest hits, but recorded with, modern production and with that live feel. And it's got Chuck D showing up for Bring the Noise. So I've been really listening to that a lot. And there's also new stuff from Crippled Black Phoenix, which is both a tongue twister and a band that I would also recommend for folks who, like me, enjoy the darker gothy side of this thing of ours.
All right, and Dekay, your choice.
Still spinning the new Goat Horse single, Born of Satan's Flesh, a band that I kind of like them at their most when they do the black and roll thing, but like this song comes out like full on like Black and Death, like just blast beats, 16th notes like crazy. It's like really aggressive, like, hey, we have a new album coming. Did we catch your attention yet? Type of single. So highly recommend spinning that one from like 2 weeks ago. And then just last week, Lamb of God released Omens, new single from record, and it sounds pissed. Randy's voice sounds thick, and pissed. It's riffy, it's trilly, it's got all the slides, the pulls, all the classic Lamb of God stuff. So yeah, really stoked for new Lamb of God as well.
There's a really disturbing thumbnail for that video that keeps popping up in my feed. I'm like, I don't want to look at that.
Ooh, I gotta see what that is then.
The video's sick.
Very cool. For me, I've been loving just attitude-packed heavy rap lately, and Suicide Boys dropped a new music video for their single Matte Black. It just has such an effortless swagger and flow. I mean, every track of theirs does, but I think what lured me in this time is the subject matter is a lot lighter than what they usually speak on. So behind the rapping too, there's just like pure R&B bliss, downright good electronic backing track. So that has been my spin as of the last couple of days. But now we got to dive into our last topic, alas, of today's roundtable, the tour or festival just announced that you are most excited for. As we kind of went through a couple already, there have been some really good ones that dropped within the last week. So Downey, Which one are you stoked about?
See, now I have the like, well, you got to come to me first, even though you really didn't.
I can't win.
I mean, that Deftones show is pretty cool. We just talked about that. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody name something that you're excited about, and I'll tell you if it tickled my fancy as well. I'm having trouble thinking of new tours. I mean,
anybody who knows me knows what I'm gonna say. And that is the new Lorna Shore tour that was just announced.
I knew it. I saw it announced. It's crazy. I saw it announced and thought of you right away. Like you were the first person that came to mind. I know
probably because I need a Lorna Shore intervention at this point. I am fairly certain I'm going to go downstairs after this talk. My loved ones are going to be gathered, and there's going to be an intervention banner. But I need like a 30-day rehab of Lorna Shore. It's so bad. But I'm going to that show in November, and then 5 days later I'm going to Hatebreed. So it was nice knowing everybody.
Yeah, Dekay pulled that right out of my brain when you said In Flames. It was like, yep, that's it. There's the In Flames tour, which of course has our Knotfest friends from Vended on the bill, I believe. But if you've heard, they just dropped a second song from that new record. And both of those songs are a nice taste of an album that is In Flames, architects of the new wave of Swedish death metal, together with, of course, Arch Enemy and At the Gates and a lot of those other great bands. This is In Flames coming back from the wilderness years of active rock and really delivering the mellow death that you associate with their name. It's one of those, oftentimes bands that have been around for a long time and made a lot of records kind of come full circle and do that back to our roots record. And that's what this record is. And I think, there's another band out that is all 5 people are ex-members of In Flames. And I think, there was an expectation that was going to sound like old school In Flames, and really sounds more like 2006 In Flames. And so to have the real band with, no disrespect to the other guys because they're all amazing, but to have the band with the name with Anders and Bjorn, and also to get to hear Chris Broderick, formerly of Megadeth, playing a bunch of the leads on the record is pretty cool. So yeah, that'll be fun to see live for sure.
I didn't realize how much of a crazy week it was in terms of things that dropped outside of the 2 main ones we discussed. But for me, I'd have to go with the Bronx. They announced a tour with the Chats, Drug Church, and Scowl. I saw them recently when I was with Knotfest in the UK, and they just bring such a crazy energy and just fun element to every single show, whether as the Bronx or Mariachi El Bronx. And then there's the kinetic energy every single time. The latest record, Bronx 6, is just full of anthemic songs. So it's literally just everybody kind of having their own fun the entire time. It's all sometimes for me, I'm not a crazy mosher. I feel like this is where Cori and I are very different human beings. I'll be either to the side or towards the back. I'm like, all right, you guys have your fun. I'm just gonna dance to the side. And you can do that at these shows, not a worry in the world. And I eat it up every time I see them. So I was really excited to see that they are coming back.
And Drug Church is rad. That's awesome. They're on that tour. I didn't realize that.
Bronx are straight up one of the most fun shows every time.
It's so good. It never lets me down.
Yeah, whether you know every single song or you don't know a song at all, you can bring someone who's never heard of the band to see that show, and they're going to leave with 4 T-shirts and every record, and they're going to be a fan.
And the songs are so catchy that is not even you need to know prior, because they're so melodic. You can literally hear the chorus once, and the second time around you can sing it full force, which I love as well. So yeah, that was really exciting. Hell yeah. Good picks, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining me once again for another episode of Knotfest Heavy Conversations, to all of my amazing panelists. And on behalf of my fellow hosts, Daniel Dekay, Ryan J. Downey, and Cori Westbrook, I've been Alicia Atout, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Peace.